Hello teacher, students, and parents. So ngayon naman sa video na ito, ituturo ko sa inyo yung ating magiging guidelines for assessing our learners at yung ating magiging grading system or yung computation mula grade 1 to senior high school. So muli kasama ninyo si Teacher Dean. So, bago natin simulan tong video na ito, so this will be, I want muna first to greet everyone because this is a very special day, a happy Teacher's Day. So, maligayang araw po sa ating mga guro. Alam po natin na hindi mapapantayan yung mga sakripisyo na ibinibigay natin para sa ating mga estudyante na bahagi na rin nating pamilya. So, maligayang araw po ng mga guro. So, bago din natin simulan itong video na ito, at kung di ka pa subscribe sa akin channel, click mo yung subscribe at click mo na rin yung notification bell para maging updated ka sa mga latest video. At kung gusto mo magkaroon din ng mga kopya at maka-download ng mga worksheets and grading computation system na aking ituturo sa ngayon, pwede ka na rin mag-member at search mo yung Teacher Bean at mag-join ka doon sa Facebook page ko. So, this year nga, medyo mahirap yung ating setting of education o yung ating pag-aaral. So, wala tayo sa normal setting, wala tayong face-to-face learning. Kaya, naging medyo question sa ating lahat, paano yung taon na to? So, mahirap sa ating part ng mga teacher at sa ating mga learners. So, lalo na, nag-isa din sa ating mga tanong, paano ba natin i-grade yung ating mga estudyante? Paano natin i-assess yung mga matututunan nila sa mga modules or sa mga activities at online teaching na ating gagawin. So, ano ba yung magiging basis of grade nila for this year? Magkakaroon ba ng computation of grade? So, ngayon, naging malinaw na yan. So, meron tayo this week or last week na pinublish yung memo na tinatawag na DepEd Order No.031 Series 2020 na mula sa Department of Education. This is about Inferim Guidelines for Assessment and Grading in light of Basic Education Continuity Plan. So, ito po, teachers, parents, and learners ang magiging basis of your grade for this year. So, yan ang ituturo ko ngayon sa video na ito. Ano ba yung nakapaloob sa DepEd Order na ito? At ano ba yung mga dapat nating malaman kung paano makukuha o magkakaroon tayo ng grade for this year? At paano ma-assess yung ating mga natutunan? Okay, first is for rationale. Of course, part pa rin ng ating K-12 basic education na nakalagay sa ating DepEd Order No. 8 series of 2015 before that part of ang assessment is part of promoting and should be used to inform and improve classroom practices and learning outcomes. Ngayon nga, because of different learning modalities, it's needed pa rin to assess our learners in a creative way and while avoiding pressure for the learners, teachers, and their families. So, magkakaroon tayo ng ibang way on how can we assess our learners that will be based on this new grading system for this year. For the scope of this is DepEd Order, this will be implemented in all public school, elementary, and secondary in our country. For all private sectors and schools, universities, and state, they are encouraged to implement this Inferim or DepEd Order. But they can modify it also according to their guidelines of their philosophy, visions, and missions with the approval, of course, of the DepEd Regional Office. Next is for procedure. So, ang una ay yung for planning the assessment. Of course, in making the assessment, it should be aligned to our most essential learning competency. That part of our K-12 curriculum for this year. So, nabago nga yung competency, dapat align dun yung assessment. It should be reliable, transparent, and valid. So, sa paggawa. So, through distance learning nga, pwede natin ibigay yung assessment na in a synchronous way. So, magbibigay tayo activity sa kanila and assessment na sasagutan nila through the help of different learning resources na pinrovide natin sa kanila. So, maganda yung kung module yung ginagamit yung way, isa sa mga ginagamit yung learning resources, magkaroon sila ng study notebook, of course, na pwede nilang ilagay yung mga important notes na dapat nilang reviewin before the assessment o malaman bago nila ibalik yung module. And the other way is sa pagpa-plan ng assessment, you should consider, of course, the application of technology that will be helpful for this distance learning. So, isa yan sa dapat nating gamitin sa pagpaplano. So, next nga yung sa procedure, yung planning of assessment nga na sinasabi ko. So, ma-evaluate natin yung learning nila in particular points into variants for this year. So, ano-ano yun? First is written works. Sa written works, included dito yung mga quizzes, long test, or unit test, or summative test na binibigay natin before. So, yan yung una, written works. So, ano yung susunod? Saan natin i-assess yung learner? Ang susunod naman ay yung performance task. So, sa performance task, pwede sila mag-create ng mga innovative products like yung mga projects, performance outputs, do performance-based task skill that will demonstrate, show demonstration rather, and group presentation na pwede nilang i-present through online kung wala nga tayong face-to-face. Then some oral work like multimedia presentation also, written outputs, and research projects. So, sa paggawa nitong dalawa na to, written works and performance tasks, it should be aligned, of course, in our learning competency or MELC for this year. So, pagpapagawa nyo yan sa pag-a-assess ng learner. Okay, next naman ay yung part is yung conducting the assessment remotely. So, paano natin siya i-conduct? Paano natin i-assess yung learners? So, una, meron tayong tinatawag na self-monitoring tool. So, sa self-monitoring tool, we consider the needs of the learners per key stage. So, doon. Early grades need assistance from their parents. So, there will be a collaboration, of course, effort with the household partners. So, next is check-in with, pwede siya check-in of teacher with the learners during assessment period. Pwede sila dito mag-online during assessment period. So, sa time na yon o sa araw na magpapabigay ka ng unit test through online, pwede sila mag-check-in at that time only. So, pwede yon. So, pwede ring mag-evidence learning students through learner portfolio. So, pwede rin naman through submissions of unit test, pwede yon gumawa ka ng procedure that will show expected timeline na magagawa nila yon. So, example, sa performance task na gagawin nila like projects, pwedeng every 2 weeks they will pass it. So, sasubmit sa'yo. Ganun sa mga test naman, pwedeng kinabukasan, they will pass the exam or in the other day, pwede nila isubmit yon, lalo na sa mga remote area na hindi na-access ng internet. Next is feedback and remediation. So, in giving feedbacks, teachers must maximize the available communication options. Of course, hindi nga pwede yung face-to-face learning, face-to-face schooling na gagawin nga natin for this year. Of course, medyo challenge din kung paano natin makakausap din yung mga parents. Of course, mamimit natin sila or yung mga guardians nila during kapag modules yung ginagamit nyo nga na isa sa modality. So, pwede nyo silang mamit, magbigay kayo ng feedbacks to write written outputs. So, pwede din siya magbigay ng feedbacks kayo sa mga through texting, feedback, via SMS, and you can use also online channel like yung Facebook and Messenger. At maganda kung may mga group chat din kayo na available for that. Example, for subject teachers, madali silang ma-reach kapag may mga questions regarding sa mga activities, exams na inyong binibigay sa ating mga learners. So, it's quite challenging, of course, for this year, but we need to do everything that will help us and them for our learners. Next nga is yung ating grading and promotion. Ito na yung hinihintay natin. Of course, very important for the learners, parents, and as teachers. How? So, for this year, wala tayong magiging quarterly exam. Like yung tinatawag nating periodical examinations. So, magbibase tayo ng grades nga sa sinabi ko, performance tasks, and written works. So, in a quarter, in first grading, minimum of 4 written works and 4 performance tasks. So, pwede natin gawin yung 4 written works every second week na pwede niya masakop yung 2 competencies of our MELT. Ganun din sa performance task. It will depend of course on the subjects kung ano yung pagagawa natin or yung method na i-disseminate natin sa ating mga learners. Yun nga, probably in 2 weeks integrating 2 or more competency. It depends on your subject. Of course, to the level of your learner. So, narito yung ating assessment components per learning grade area for grade 1 and grade 10. So, ito yung components, written works, and performance tasks only. At yung weights per subject kung makikita ninyo. It depends on the subject kung ilan yung sa written works and performance tasks. Makikita natin sa table. Ito naman yung ating assessment components for senior high school. Same din sa sa elementary and high school, grade 1 to 10, written works and performance tasks yung part nung components of assessment. So next we have here a sample of computation from grade 1 to grade 10 for math or science subject. So, yung written works and performance tasks ay 50-50%. So, kung makikita nyo dito sa ating table, para makuha natin yung PS or yung passive percentage score, we will just divide the learner score to the highest possible score para makuha natin siya. Then, para makuha yung weight average, we will just multiply yung learner score on the highest possible score percentage of weighing average. 91 times 0.50. Makukuha natin yung 45.5%. Para naman doon sa initial grade niya, para makuha natin yung initial grade, we will just add the weight average on the written works and on the performance tasks. So, dun siya lilitaw yung initial grade. And for the quarterly grade, we will still use the transmutation table which is on the Appendix B in DepEd Order No.031 Series 2050. So, ito pa rin gagamitin natin sa pag-grade ngayong taon. Yung guidelines on the learner's progress as well as yung promotion and retention shall likewise follow the provision cited on the said policy. So, makita po natin yun sa DepEd Order No.8 yung sa transmutation table Series 2015. So, hope teacher, parents, and learners na natutunan nyo at nalaman na kung paano natin ma-assess yung ating learning for this school year. So, yung ating magiging guidelines sa paggawa ng grades. So, sa susunod naman na video, ituturo ko sa inyo yung paggawa ng automated grading system regarding of this. So, hope teacher, nakatulong tong video na sa inyo at kung meron kayong mga tanong or suggestion or additional, pwede po kayo mag-comment sa below sa baba ng video. At kung nagustuhan niyo na ditong video na ito, please click the like button sa baba ng video. So, maraming salamat. Hope teacher, marami tayong natutunan for this video. Till next time, with Teacher Bean.